Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the Tudor watch company. I'm going to be speaking about what's happening with Tudor, and I'm going to share with you a bit about why their prices are really tanking in the secondary market. So let's get into it. So what's going on with Tudor? If you watch my other video on Rolex, we can understand why the crown or the king of watches prices in the secondary market is plummeting. But there's a sister brand that no one is talking about, and it's far worse than Rolex, and that's Tudor. And it's only going to get worse in my opinion. Now let me explain. Let's talk about the story of Tudor. Tudor has always been the sister brand of Rolex. It's formed by Hans Rudolph, the founder of Rolex, with a simple mission at the time: to provide cheaper alternatives than Rolex watches. So Tudor has always been this brand where they would historically use Rolex cases and parts. More cheaper movement that's not developed by Rolex. Tudor was the poor man's Rolex, and Tudor has always been this watch where they would use the parts, they would just step in cheaper movement, they will market it as cheaper price range, and people will buy them. So they were real tool watches, you should say. But in 2010, something happened. Tudor had this amazing revival, and I'm not very sure who was heading the company at the time, but you can see when they started the Tudor revival, the brand came back in the USA, they launched an entire lineup of watches. If you look at the Tudor catalog back then, you get Black Bay, you get the Pelagos, you got the Ranger, you got the North Flag, which I think was a great watch, which was discontinued and the whole line was gone, and the story has now been used to talk about the Tudor Ranger, which is a bit of a misplace. But you know, they had all these other lines. They had the Fast Rider Chrono, they had the Grand Tour. It was exciting, you know. They started exploring the heritage. I think at that time, you know, their positioning was just spot on. You know, they were really there and innovating. Of course, they have not moved on to produce and manufacture movements at the time, but they were much attainable and they were cheaper. They were in the mid-range market, so they were really great value for money. I mean, it was still probably carrying the mission statement of what Tudor is supposed to be. After that, you know, the Black Bay became a big hit in the watch community. Everyone who had a Rolex or aspired to have a Submariner at that time, they would buy the Tudor Black Bay. In fact, the Tudor Black Bay was so popular at the time, before even Rolex watches in 2018, where you know they started becoming unattainable, Tudor watches were starting to have the same craze as well, especially on the Black Bay line. Now, I remember at a time, somewhere in 2016 or 2017, when I first started going to watches, one of the first watches that I got was the Tudor Black Bay. And it was a tool watch. It was like a, you know, desk diver kind of watch. It had the water resistance, it had everything, it had the design. And it was actually for my wife. My wife wanted a Tudor Black Bay because it's unique, it was special at the time. When we bought the watch, I still remember at that time, I could get a 15% discount off the authorized dealer. They were great value. The early generation Black Bays, they were actually launched with NATO straps as well. And not just any NATO strap, very high quality NATO straps that was included in the package with every Black Bay that was sold. So if you bought a Black Bay with the rubber strap, you would get the NATO strap as well. If you bought a Black Bay with a stainless steel bracelet, you will get it with the NATO strap. And the NATO straps were beautiful and they were high quality. And then, you know, they axed it out, you know, they took it away. And now, of course, you know, they started selling it without the NATO straps. I mean, that was a positioning, in my opinion, that was really, really great. And they didn't follow through. Now, that time, the company was great. But here's the problem. So why are Tudor prices dropping so bad? If you look at Omega, you know, they have been raising the prices as well. Even though they're raising the prices of, you know, the watches, the secondary watch prices are actually moving up a little, and they're actually holding pretty well. You see brands like Breitling, which are really undervalued in the pre-owned market, and you start seeing, you know, the dive watch and everything, you know, it's starting to move up in price, they're maintaining. Whereas you see Tudor watches, you can see how they have been really plummeting. And they have one of the worst drops. If you watch the watch charts video on Tudor, I'm going to link in the description as well, you can see how bad the Tudor market is being hammered. You can even get a Black Bay 58 now below the retail price where you bought the watch, okay? And Black Bay 41s, they're starting to really drop in price as well. And you can starting to see them, you know, probably 2,000 US dollars even. And you can even get Black Bay 58s at under $3,000 as well. You've got brands like Longines. Longines is actually doing very well in the mid-level luxury range. You know, the watches are very popular. They've been having their hits with their Longines Spirit line, and they've just been launching a lot of good watches as well. And even their latest Hydro Conquest is actually quite a popular watch too. So why is it still dropping? There are a few reasons, and here's my opinion. I'm surprised no one talks about it, or maybe they can't talk about it because most YouTubers are sort of like brand ambassadors when they grow big as a channel, you know. I do understand they have to make a living off positive review of watches. That's why And that's how YouTube's designed, because people are watching watch reviews that are not really reviews, because they're just talking about watches that they are sponsored by, and they don't always disclose that they are representing those brands. And that's how they earn, That's why they can't truly speak their mind. There are very, very few ones that really speak their mind. I mean, one of them, if you I mean, I'm going off tangent here, but if you're gonna watch, urban gentry watches, I've been following for a long time. TGV, if you're ever watching my video, thank you very much. You inspired me with your story to start a watch channel and get into the watch hobby as well. But he's one of the few which I really respect, and you can see he really speaks his opinion as well. And they're not many. So let me give you a couple of reasons. I'm going to give you 3 reasons what's happening with the Tudor brand itself. Okay. So if you look at it, one of the reasons why I believe it's tanking is the Tudor brand has been slowly axing their unique models, and they haven't really had a unique model line since 2012. The success of the Black Bay line is killing the brand today. No, really. You don't believe me? Check out the catalog from last time, from the early days, and you look at the website now. If you open the website of Tudor today, you're going to see Black Bay, Black Bay, Black Bay. Look, everything is called a Black Bay. You got Black Bay 58, you got Black Bay 54, you got Black Bay GMT, you got Black Bay 41. Look, even their normal Black Bays, I mean, I can't even differentiate, not the Black Bay 41, which is kind of strange. So you get everything named Black Bay, and they really don't have any innovative models. I think the success of brands in general is, getting them to buy one line of watch and cross-selling the other lines. I think this is why brands like Omega is so popular, because you got, like, for example, their most iconic, which is the Speedmaster. Then you got the Seamaster range, and you got their, the Aquaterra range from Seamaster. Of course, they have a lot more watches than Tudor. It's really diverse. But you get what I'm saying. You get attracted to the Seamasters, the Speedmasters. You start getting attracted to some of the other watches as well. They have some heritage watches as well, some great watches. So that is what it is. The Constellation series. They have the watches where the Globemaster is quite an underrated watch as well. The DeVille series is pretty good as well. So, or maybe you start with the DeVille series and you go to the professional line series, such as the Speedmaster. So this is what brands do. I mean, look, even Longines have it. You got a Spirit line, you got a Conquest Diver line, you've got the dress watches, For example, the Longines Presence last time, which has a great value. You get all these different, like, they even got a heritage line where, or the Legend Diver, and things like that. You go into one and then you like the brand and you start looking at the watches and you buy them, right? But Tudor doesn't have it anymore. They had it in 2012. They don't have it anymore. Maybe they don't need it. I don't know. But they're greedy. I mean, I think this is just corporate greed going on, because they only keep pushing people to buy Black Bay, so they just keep milking the Black Bay series. I mean, every major release from the last 5 to 10 years has the name Black Bay behind it. Black Bay Ceramic, Black Bay GMT, Black Bay Pro, which was quite pretty recent as well. So Tudor doesn't have it. I think they will keep pushing this, and as long as people keep biting this Black Bay thing and people don't getting tired of it, they're gonna keep getting it. They're gonna keep winning. And I think that's the reason why that happens as well, because you buy a Black Bay, what do you want next? They want to sell another Black Bay. So everything is a Black Bay line, even though they could be a bit different. I understand that Tudor is trying to make it like their brand thing, but man, enough is enough. Most Tudor buyers that bought the Black Bays and were early people who supported the brand, many at that time, have actually sold their Black Bays and moved on. I mean, you hear this on watch channels, on YouTube people, you talk to people as well. They bought a Tudor and they've moved on. And if you're one of them, please comment below. Tell me why you sold your Black Bay. And either they're off Tudor or they're going to something else. So what happens is, a person really wants a Rolex, or they have been looking to Rolex watches because Rolex is king, right? And everyone aspires to get one at the time. But in reality, they buy a Tudor, and they think it will fill the gap because it pulls some of the same strings. It's got the little brand story that says Tudor is sort of like Rolex. They position as such. But in reality, it never does, because a Tudor Black Bay, it's not a Rolex Submariner and will never be. So people don't buy because they love the Black Bay. They buy because they love Rolex, and they thought the Black Bay is an alternative to the Submariner. But it's not. They think it's a heritage alternative, but it's actually not. And that's why after a while, they sell it and they moved on. It's like you wanting that object, or that legendary icon, and you settle for something less. That is what the Black Bay was, and that is what the Black Bay is. I think Tudor attracted the wrong buyers for their brand, but they cannot sustain it. So when people move on like that. They've lost their whole mission of being a value company of value. They milk the Back Bay line, so they keep milking the Back Bay line. Tudor got greedy, so this demand caused Tudors to seem more rare than us. So of course, Tudor got into the whole game Rolex got into, where they sort of like make it hard to get it. And eventually, I remember in 2019 and above, Tudor watches also started getting a wait list. So they tried to play the same game that Rolex is doing. What's worse compared to Rolex here is because this demand here makes it seem much rarer than these watches are. So they played the same game. Before 2019, Tudors were not waitlisted, and the new watches started going to dealers, and the dealers flipped easy for profit. It was like 10, 20% easy money, Tudor closed an eye on that. But the major problem is this. One major problem, which why I feel that Tudor is worse out than Rolex when the market corrects, which is what's happening right now in 2024, is Tudor is not Rolex. It is a mass market, mid-level luxury brand. They don't limit their production like Rolex, okay? And I don't think they even produce close to Rolex numbers. I don't think they disclose how many watches they make. They don't make close to Rolex, but they are artificially limiting it up. And how Tudor works is they will just keep pumping out more. But the fake waitlisting has caused this, and it made it more desirable. So when you had to wait list and wait for the Tudors, they talk about production shortage, same thing as Rolex. People started believing that the demand was much higher than it is. Of course, in the case of Rolex, in my other video I talk about it, the demand is there, but the demand is not as big as it is. It's all being played, and it's happening here as well. So the dealers who were doing thing with Rolex were doing it with Tudor as well. But actually, the reality is you should always be able to get the Tudor easily. And with the demand correcting and the price increases that Tudor is putting on every year, you can now easily get a Black Bay 58, even below retail price. If you don't believe me, check it out on Chrono24. So now Tudors are now trading below retail pricing, and any of those dealers who wanted easy money aren't able to sell anymore. The people have stopped buying Black Bays. With Tudor having axed all their collections, look, they had some great collections, North Flag. They didn't go into that. I have no idea why. The Tudor Fast Rider was pretty innovative at its time as well. It was pretty unique. It had the story to tell. Nothing happened with it. At least Tudor is trying with the Pelagos. But even the Pelagos, I don't see any kind of innovation coming. There's no new line. And watch enthusiasts are no longer taking the bait. I believe that watch enthusiasts are no longer taking the bait. Of course, watch YouTubers are taking the bait and sharing the story. And the new retail pricing of Tudor is pricing them way above the mid-market. I mean, we are going through a global recession right now, some form of global recession. You have this in China and a lot of Asian countries as well. You can no longer look at the China market to support, or the Chinese market to support these watches anymore. So you're going to see them pricing way above the mid-market. So new people are starting to go into watches, and they're not really going to Tudor, and they're going to other watch brands like Omega and Longines, even other brands that are coming up to take the space, Oris, and other watch brands as well. Here's my conclusion. At the end of the day, a Tudor is not a Rolex, and never be. It will never be a Rolex, and that is the problem. Dealers and the people who were playing the market, the brand Tudor as well, were playing this market with people and the consumers, realizing that there were flippers, there were people who were abusing the market, creating this fake artificial wait list. In fact, the dealers were just scooping out these watches, selling up and at an upsell, making the 10, 20% off the rack. Tudor knew about this for many years, and they did nothing about it. They did nothing as a brand, and I think that is the main problem, and will continue to haunt Tudor for the future. I mean, I see a lot of potential in Tudor. I love the brand in a way, but I'm extremely disappointed in it. Looking at Watches Wonders 2024, it's just extremely disappointing. And I believe that the watch prices for Tudor will continue to correct. They will go down as the market is flooded with more and more Tudor watches and Black Bay. You got so many variations of the Black Bay now, and you're going to get so many options. So if you are looking for Tudor, my recommendation, just look in the secondary market. And if you're buying off retail, it's only about time before you can start getting discounts at your authorized dealer again. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this kind of content, please remember to like, comment, tell me what you think. Tell me if you agree with me or you disagree with me. Am I really speaking the truth here that many people are not covering this? Please check out my other video. I will put them in the description as well. And you have a great day. You have a great week. Thank you very much. Now, if you have been following the watch world and you realize that in Watches and Wonders 2024, Tudor launched a few watches, including a full gold Tudor Black Bay 58. Now, there is a video by Federico Talks Watches, where he speaks about Federico is going from a very neutral position. He's like asking why Tudor, what Tudor has, or what's Tudor thinking launching a gold watch. But you know what? I have a feeling I know the answer why. If you think of Tudor as a watch company, they have always been the sister brand of Rolex. And I believe that this full gold Tudor, it is one which the corporate company is probably testing the limits to see if they can make Tudor into the next mid-level luxury Rolex. Because everyone knows, the story about Rolex. I have a very interesting video about Rolex, which caused a lot of commotion. Now, I didn't know it would be so popular, but you can always click in the link in the description below and watch where I explain in detail why Rolex prices are plummeting and continue to plummet in the secondary market. So you have to understand Tudor and you have to understand Rolex because they're very similar. They're like brother and sister companies, okay? So the real reason they launch it is probably testing as a corporate company whether people will actually take the bait. When I say take the bait, it means they want to start positioning Tudor and they're just milking the Black Bay line. They want to position Tudor as a brand, as a mid-luxury level brand, but it's not just the mid-level affordable luxury. They want to see if they can start bringing in some customers on the slightly upper end of the luxury market, because we know that Rolex, they're playing the whole game where you can't get their watches, and because of that they are trying to test the market with Tudor. Now, will people actually take the bait and will they actually buy a full gold Tudor? There are a lot of gold watches with high-end movements and better quality in the marketplace, but they're testing Tudor. Will people take the bait? Time will tell. We also have, if you see Watches and Wonders, a very lackluster Black Bay 58 GMT. Yes, I know. Everyone is shouting how great it is. Every YouTuber is saying how great it is and how happy it is. I mean, all the famous top YouTubers in the watch community are talking about how that is the greatest release of all time and of Watches and Wonders. I have to disagree. It is totally, absolutely rubbish, because I have the opinion, like I've shared earlier, and I'm going to share, Tudor is just milking the entire Black Bay 58 line. They have no real model lineup that's coming up that's more interesting. Will it be a popular watch? Maybe. It'll probably be a hype watch. But time will tell whether secondary prices will continue to hold. I believe it will also fall to the same problem